About a year ago, we made a video about some of the crazy things you see in old radial arm saw manuals from the 50s and 60s, such as cross-cutting a sheet of plywood by sliding it on the floor as the blade is spinning at gut level. That video was meant to lightheartedly poke fun, not at the machine itself so much, but at certain practices that I think we all should agree are bad ideas, like putting a lawnmower-like blade on a saw and calling it a shaper. Evidently, though, that video was very controversial. Some radial arm saw users tend to be a protective bunch. They don't want to hear anything negative about their saw. Even common sense criticisms, such as how this may not be the best way to cut a rabbit. Some folks saw the video's title and they immediately went to the comments to tell me what an idiot I am. They objected to the video without really watching it, and in the process sort of put themselves in the awkward position of having to defend Mr. Loose Sleeves here. Because that's what the video was about, the manuals, not really the saw itself. I was mocking the dumb stuff Ward Cleaver was doing in his basement with his necktie on, as illustrated in the old manuals. My attitude about the saw itself, I thought, was pretty clear from statements like this. I don't consider a radial arm saw inherently dangerous any more than I would a table saw or any other type of circular saw. But you'd better know what you're doing before you use one. And you should never demand more from the machine than it was intended to do. But folks didn't hear those statements. They only saw criticism of their favorite tool. And since then, a lot of folks have assumed that I am anti-radial arm saw. Because of that, some viewers who own these saws or who plan to get one have become discouraged. I've gotten a lot of emails from people asking if they should get rid of their radial arm saws. I think that's kind of a bad thing, because I grew up around a radial arm saw. We didn't have a table saw, and without the experiences that I had in my grandfather's workshop, I may never have gotten into woodworking. So I want to take a couple minutes to clarify what I think about the saw itself, which is distinctly different from what I think of the old manuals. Radial arm saws can be dangerous tools, just like table saws and miter saws and handheld circular saws can be dangerous tools. Anything that can cut wood can also cut you. And when you combine a powerful motor with 50 or 60 carbide teeth spinning at 3,500 RPM, all sorts of stuff can go wrong. Those risks are not unique to radial arm saws. A table saw can violently kick a piece of wood backwards towards your body. It can actually pull your hand into the blade. A radial arm saw can kick a piece of wood through a wall, it can pull your hand into the blade, and it can even climb on top of a workpiece and lurch towards you. Both saws have claimed fingers, and a responsible user of either tool must protect himself by installing proper safety equipment and not demanding more from the tool that it can reasonably safely do. For example, a table saw is made much safer if you install a splitter or a riving knife behind the blade. That'll help you prevent kickbacks that can shoot wood towards you or pull your hand into the blade. A table saw is also made safer if, whenever possible, you use your blade guard. Even so, there are operations that I consider too risky to be done with a table saw, such as those molding cutter heads or ripping rough unjointed boards. Those are things that I consider asking more from the tool than you really should. A radial arm saw, on the other hand, may be made safer with a blade guard or the anti-kickback pawls that some of them have. A negative hook blade can substantially reduce the chance of a climb. But just as I'd say no to certain tasks at the table saw, I think many radial arm saw operations that I showed you in those manuals, those joinery operations, just aren't worth the risk. It's asking more from the tool than you really should. While both tools may be relatively safe for some tasks, the operations that I would reject are usually determined by how much of the blade will be exposed and how likely my fingers are to come into contact with that blade. One benefit of a table saw is that the blade is usually mostly concealed beneath the table, and what's left is usually inside the wood or under a blade guard. There are only relatively brief moments during a cut when a great deal of the blade may be exposed. But a radial arm saw features a blade that is entirely above the table. For many crosscuts and even rip cuts, that blade may be mostly covered by the guard. But for other operations, a great deal of the blade must be exposed. Those operations present many more risks than perhaps that same task would carry at the table saw or a different tool. So you're asking more from the tool, in my opinion, than you should. To me, that's the difference. With a proper blade guard and good safety practices, you can make cross cuts and even some rip cuts with a reasonable level of safety with a radial arm saw, even though they do lack some of the safety features of modern table saws. But the cuts that expose a lot of blade, either because you have to remove the guard or because so much of the blade is tilted or turned toward the user in some of these operations, those are the cuts that I think are safer made with other tools. Maybe that's a table saw, maybe it's a router, maybe it's by hand. You have to decide for yourself. Another factor, though, is convenience. I still own a radial arm saw, but I haven't used it in years. Not so much because of any perceived danger, but because I don't think it's the most convenient tool for any of the things that can be done with it. As the saying goes, a jack of all trades is a master of none. I find a table saw much more convenient for ripping, especially sheet goods. And even crosscuts, miters, bevels, these things are easier and more accurate, in my opinion, with a table saw or a miter saw, because I find that radial arm saws are too fiddly to adjust and difficult to keep aligned. Even mine, which is one of the really well-built mid-century DeWalt's, and it's in excellent condition. It's not a matter of being worn out. Some users will definitely disagree with me on that, but I'm not alone in my opinion. If I keep it set for 90-degree crosscuts, it's fine. But when I start angling and tilting the components, I end up having to frequently recalibrate it. I understand that there are some industrial models that are more reliable, and there are some newer versions that might not only be more precise, but maybe even safer than the older versions. I can only comment on my personal experiences, the 3 generations of my family that grew up with radial arm saws, who all agree with me, folks I've met over the years throughout the country, and many viewers have told me their experiences as well. Finally, I want to preempt some comments that I know I'm going to get because I got them on the other video, and they seem a little silly to me. But some people argue that a radial arm saw cannot climb on top of a workpiece because it has a stout cast iron frame. Some get angry at even the suggestion. I don't understand how you can argue that something that literally happens, there are experiences all over about it, how you can argue that that's some sort of myth. I've experienced it personally more than once. I've seen it happen to others on more than one occasion. It seems impossible that anyone would try to deny that. Cast iron flexes. Watch your bandsaw's cast iron frame when you tension the blade. There's also several joints in a radial arm saw that can flex. You've got the base of the column, the pivot point at the top of the column, and any of the parts in the carriage itself. All of that can easily add up to the 3/4 of an inch you need for that blade to climb on top of the board. Does that mean the blade will shoot towards you and open up your rib cage? No. But people have lost fingers that way, and it's something that you should be aware of when you use your saw instead of denying it. Again, if you use a negative hook blade, you can substantially reduce that risk. Using a radial arm saw or a table saw or any power tool comes down to understanding how to use it properly, installing the safety devices just in case you do screw up, and not asking more of the tool than it can safely do. I prefer other tools, but I'm not anti-radial arm saw, and maybe someday I'll get mine back out and show you. See you next time. For the last several years, I've been replacing my cheap drill and Forstner bits with quality bits from Fish Tools. They're a family-run company that still forges their bits the old-fashioned way. Try replacing your most used bits with Fish bits using the links in the notes below this video, and you'll see why I love them so much. Wait, don't go yet. If you're new here, please subscribe and remember to ring the bell. I would really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, or better yet, leave us a comment. I always read them. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always packed with tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker.